These scowls can be so ferocious. I'm not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting. Sodium hypochlorite. Dangerous to administer, but efficient in the proper dosage. Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague? Are you a doctor?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Ake.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your...
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise.
A pawnbroker?
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind...
Who comes here to trade with you?
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doc...
What kind?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things.
Please show me what you have.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm...
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be...
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior. A man who didn't...
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desire.
Tell me, Mr.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial...
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting...
What can you tell me?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare...
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of...
Questions remain about our capacity.
True, true. Last summer, during the first wave...
Do you need help with any...
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting...
Do you want me to play the errand boy for...
Oh, no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop...
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may... Goodbye.
I'm quite busy right now.
Thank you.
I'm so tired.
Good evening, sir.
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. You're...
I see. Would you mind...
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed.
I was more curious about what you were doing before.
I'm a carpenter. And a good one, too. But that means I'm...
Are you satisfied?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured.
I won't lie to you about it.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed?
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, tell me about the doc.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there.
What do you mean? Tell me. What?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a bill.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose it.
How could your job be responsible for
I
your...
was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fitz.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army. Building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is,
How are your children?
they were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Goodbye for now.
My sweet girl reads me like a book. I could keep anything from
Good
her.
evening, Doctor.
And good evening to you, Doc.
Goodbye. Good evening, Miss Howe.
I need blood.
Up. Good evening, Miss.
Evening.
How close are you to Miss Horcroft? Are you aware that she...
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game...
She's quite harmless, I can assure you.
So do you let her bite you?
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of me blood.
She could decide to bite less.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And
Goodbye.
disgust on every street corner. The
Good evening,
daily
nurse.
routine.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been in...
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end...
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted.
How long have you been a nurse?
Or long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And...
You're right. When dealing with such a terrible...
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with...
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Why does Milton...
I don't know. Just ask him. But... I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned. Milton is not the chatty type.
Goodbye, nurse.
Disgust on every street corner.
Good evening,
I
Miss.
need blood, Doctor. Warm.
Tell me, Thelma, why do you feel so attached to Miss...
I'm not sure, Doctor.
Do you plan to make...
Of course not. How could I inflict my curse on anybody else?
Would you say you and Mr. Elwood...
No. No, Thomas is a delicate soul. Even though he disguises it. But I am not the woman he needs. No, for I am a vampire, Doctor.
I'll leave you.
Time has lost its effect on me. But the suffering continues.
Behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This This sickness moves faster than influenza. The flower's dying. It needs water.
Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that Cadogan fellow.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better...
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital?
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently.
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital?
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
Are you really smuggling weapons through them?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling...
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
How is the
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fuck...
I'd like to see your...
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs.
Surely I can endure another night.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's prime...
How are
Not good, to say the least.
an invisible enemy? Quite a poet.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting.
Do you think this hospital?
We are all volunteers here.
Do you think this hospital?
We are all volunteers here. And we're trying to hold fast, but... how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
An invisible...
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps...
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of...
Is there anyone that's...
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett's. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be...
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing...
I'm not familiar...
Brilliant.
Goodbye. Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett's, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look...
What can you tell me about...
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and...
You really seem to admire her skill.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fart...
Any opinion about...
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation?
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are...
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No, we must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
You've nothing to prove, Dr. Tippett, to anybody. And we all praise your experience. Please, have some rest.
I am perfectly fine, and I am not too old for this job.
You're exhausted.
No,
You've not...
I am...
Goodbye, Doctor. Good evening, Mr.
Dr. Reed. Still working it.
And why is that?
People who don't sleep at night always seem more alive.
Do you ever think about that poor
The wound he gave me will make sure I don't forget him. Still fucking hurts. Boss had cut me good.
What did he want? Revenge?
I recently had to kill his brother. Poor arsehole thought it would be easy to return the favour.
You're a monster, Mr. Cox. An ungrateful...
I'm the toughest bastard you'll ever meet, Dr. Reed. And I don't give a fuck what you think of me.
That man was determined to murder you.
What a surprise. The first time I met him, he knew...
How is your hospitalization?
This is a shitty place with shitty staff. But as long as I'm treated all right, I'll be...
What's wrong?
That bastard you sent to bring me here, Milton. I thought he was going to break all my bones before I reached my bed.
I see. Any other smart comments?
The nurses aren't too ugly. Especially that foxy one, Nurse Crane. Pretty brunette, tough attitude, all like that.
What's wrong with the hospital?
Come on, Dr. Reed. The place is a dump.
But you're alive thanks to the efforts and dedication of the staff.
What are you expecting, a medal? I thought that saving lives was just part of the job. Must be an unsatisfactory profession at this time.
How long do you think you can escape the law, Clay?
I know this city like the back of my hand, Doc. I know its streets, who to pay, who to avoid, and who to bully.
We can't escape the consequences of our actions. The past catches up with us in the end.
I ain't afraid of death. I don't hide who I am. I live my life honestly, which is more than I could say for most folks.
And who are you, then?
I'm the leader of the Wet Boot Boys. One day, I'll leave this shitty place and punch in the face all who thought I would not come back.
I'll leave you for now. Good evening.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye. Good evening, madam.
It's my son who needs you.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
What can you tell me about yourself?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that...
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes. Thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs.
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
What do you think of your reception here?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived, but we had no other choice. Considering the state of...
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Goodbye, Mrs. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
No.
Really? Why?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone to...
Yes.
Could you at least tell me your name?
Mortimer. Mortimer.
How painful.
So painful, I'd rather not talk at all.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more?
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about...
How painful.
So painful.
I'll let you get...
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr.
Am I...
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea.
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox, but rest assured, you're...
It's not me you have to convince, Dr. Reed.
Tell me about yourself.
I don't want to talk.
I have to...
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Finally, you've returned, Doctor. Did you find anything?
Yes, nurse.
You've worked your first miracle, Doctor. Now, this patient here needs immediate treatment.
Duty calls. When the storm has passed, I'll show you how to mix the remedy yourself with the same basic ingredients.
Many thanks, Doctor. When you've finished, you ought to report to Dr. Swansea in his office. He's been looking for you. Seemed pressing.
Good evening. I have...
Don't waste your time. Time with me.
Good evening, Doctor.
Good
evening, sir.
How long must I wait, damn it? Blaming me will not further your agenda. How long is it going to take to fix me?
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Good.
Please, Jonathan, come in. Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea, but my condition defies scientific categorization. Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
I'm a dead man. I was murdered. Now I'm a murderer. Tell me how this is a gift.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please.
There is no need to apologize, Edgar. You offered me sanctuary when I had none.
Very well. I have a task for you, Jonathan. Something that will require all your newfound skills.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. Now, if you could help her out...
A spokesman or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to eradicate this threat?
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Accepted. I'll see what kind of trouble Lady Ash...
The flu took my dear wife, Emily. I take comfort knowing we'll soon be together again.
Mr. Rainfield, that's no way to talk. You're in good hands here, and we'll be up again soon enough. Now do me a kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet Lady of Mercy.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. It's a pleasure to... You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent appointment to Pembroke Hospital.
You're a the lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Indeed. Allow me to introduce myself formally this time.
Apologies. You've taken me by surprise.
The pleasure is mine.
I hope you're more disposed to answer my questions.
You must have countless questions, but our rather urgent matter first. Swansea has explained. My cover, if you prefer, has been compromised.
Have any of the patients...
These poor souls have so little left to live for. I do my best.
The world would be a better place if it were cared for by women like you.
You make me blush. I am simply a necessary evil.
Pardon my boldness, Your Ladyship, but I have questions concerning this condition we share.
As a newborn, your hunger for answers is rivaled only by your thirst for blood. But the questions need wait.
I'm a scientist. My trade is in the deciphering of mysteries, and I need information to feed my mind.
I will gladly answer every question you have, but first, prove yourself capable of resolving my predicament without eating the culprit. You make...
Dr. Swansea has commissioned me to be your agent in this matter. You could start by explaining what's amiss.
These past insufferable weeks, I've been the victim of extortion. I've made a first payment, but the blackmailer grows greedy. I must refuse his most recent demands.
What are your expectations? Please be precise.
As the newly appointed surgeon of this hospital, you are in an excellent position to ask innocent questions and deftly learn the identity of my blackmailer.
Who would be so foolish as to threaten you? A kindred spirit.
Even if it were the case, and I highly doubt it, a vampire would have asked for something more valuable than money. My suspicions lean toward a patient or their family.
If we're dealing with an ordinary criminal, surely you've the means to deal with it yourself, if I may.
As immortal tradition doth dictate, all fangs and hypnotic eyes ablaze, the blood would run like a river. That's what I hope to avoid. Violence has a tendency to spiral out of control.
Please continue. Every detail is essential.
My embarrassment in this matter is eclipsed only by my shame at having put the hospital at risk. The threat from our anonymous scoundrel is clear. A list of dates. My visits coinciding with the dates of suspicious patient deaths due to massive blood loss.
Is it true?
Now aren't you the blunt one?
You are aware that I too know the thirst for the scarlet nectar.
In all honesty, I'm not simply a patron to the hospital. My visits serve a dual purpose. Dr. Swansea has been treating my condition with a revolutionary technique of blood transfusion. It seems you are a specialist in the domain.
I'll take care of it. Do you know what...
If that was the case, I'd settle the matter myself. You could talk to our local gossip, Harriet Jones. Not a pin drops here without her hearing about it.
I'll meet that woman now.
My life, as others know, is in your hands, Dr. Reed. I'm sure of your discretion, but I do fear your powers of persuasion will be put to the test. When this is resolved, I'll be your obligé. I'll answer all questions in regards of your condition.
It is the last thing our patients need.
I wish I could be sick again.
Simpletons, these nurses. Bred with no respect. What? What is this?
There's no need for alarm, madam. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon.
Preposterous. Dr. Reed, you say? I don't want...
Please, calm down, madam. I assure you that I am highly qualified. I'm just back from war duty.
How brave. Threatening an old defenseless woman. You know how long I've been a patient here? You've picked the wrong fight. I'm Harriet Jones.
Harriet Jones? Indeed. I've been meaning to have a chat with you. You know what goes on here better than any other patient, I gather.
Oh, better than any patient, nurse or doctor. I've seen so many vile undertakings.
I heard there have been some despicable goings-on. Was there a case of blackmail?
Blackmail? Wait. You're investigating something. This isn't a social call. One of those incompetent cunts slit a poor sod's vein.
If I didn't know better, Miss Jones, I'd be inclined to say you enjoy this type of idle gossip.
God's honest truth, Doctor. It's just the way it is here. Most of these bitches would let you freeze to death before getting you a blanket.
You seem to know more about the goings-on here than anyone else. Beware, Miss Jones, in case suspicion should fall on you.
That's it. Blame the old and infirm. I see those little bitches' greedy little eyes. Just waiting for me to pop off they are.
I assure you, madam, this is not an investigation into a possible medical error.
Debauchery, then? Nurses Crane, Hawkins, Brannigans, whores, all of them. They can't keep their legs shut. I've seen them scratching slutty sores.
Really? Well, if you have irrefutable proof, I'll not have the staff behaving in such a manner here.
This is your business, Doctor, not mine. But I swear one of the nurses is cavorting with some man on hospital hours.
Thank you for your time, Miss Jones. You've given me something to go on. See you on the next round. The patients and staff might know something. I'll start my investigation with them. Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any...
Have you heard of any underhand dealings going on in the...
I have no time for such triviality, my dear colleague. I have no...
Goodbye, Doc.
Hey,
Have you heard of any underhand dealings going...
Blackmail? That's not my style. Too risky. The black market, though. Now that's where the money...
I'll leave...
You're sure you don't come back with me?
Nah, I have to see someone at the hospital.
Be careful. You look so bad they may keep you as a patient.
Fuck 'em. I don't like hospitals. Or doctors.
Well then, when you go back to Whitechapel, you may find this useful.
What is it?
A pass for a free medical exam by the best nurse available. Just read it.
I don't read well, but thank you, I guess.
This man has been savagely attacked and dragged to the floor. Are you injured, sir?
Help me get out of here. I need to get out.
I'm Dr. Reed, and I'd be glad to help you, but you must calm down first. Please, take a deep breath and tell me your name.
Okay. I'm Oswald Thatcher. Please, I need to get out.
All right, Mr. Thatcher, you're safe now. Do you think you can reach the street by yourself?
Yes, I do.
Good. Now leave this place and enjoy the cool night air. It's quite invigorating. I'm sure you'll feel better if you do. Are you sure?
Yes, I...
I can't believe I'm doing this. What sort of creature is this? What sort of creature is this?
sort of creature is this? What 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 sort of creature is this?